get this camera to act right. Good morning, you guys. Hold on. Darn tripod. What is this? Okay. Tried to get the tripod to act right this morning, you guys. Oh, now I got the glare off my glasses. It'll work for right now. Let me just turn off this camera here. Hold on. Maybe I should leave it up. Oh no. What the heck, I'll leave it up. So, good morning, you guys. This is Jess with Sourceful Journey, back with another video. I actually am so surprised. It's only been, a few days. I would say it's only been a few days, but there have been some of you that have been blowing up my email box and my DM section over on Instagram about like, where are you? And I appreciate that, you guys, but I don't know. I just kind of like working on some things, as I mentioned in my previous videos. And I can't say too much about it. I have to remain mum, but just know it's all for good reasoning. But I'm here. Full of radiance as usual, but it's just, I can't really speak too much on it right now. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and post up a couple of videos for you guys today, maybe, I would say maybe 2, maybe 3, we'll see. I'm looking at my list here, so I might, depend on how I'm feeling. So I have to still work on a few other things, and I won't speak too much on it, but if I can, I'll try to squeeze in at least at most 3 or 4 today. Okay, so one of the topics that I do want to zero in on with you today is the notion of why one should move in silence until the task is done. You know, some might say that that is something that, you know, it's a great way to approach things in life when it comes to special projects you're working on, when it comes to your next steps in general, whether it may be moving into a new location, maybe taking on a new role within your company. Maybe it might be in regards to someone you're dating. You know, sadly enough, especially if you're in the public eye, you know, if you're seeing someone, right? And let's say this person isn't part of the group that you came up with, or who you rub elbows with, as an example, and yet you still have interest in them. You know, you have to kind of move silently there too. And also when it comes to just anything you may be working on project-wise, like maybe you're working on something project-wise with a friend or a family member. You just don't want others to know about it because you don't want anyone to infiltrate and try to take control of the situation. So many different scenarios, as you guys can see, but at the end of the day, is this something one should apply to their everyday existence or not? Let's talk about it. So as always, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in. I wish there was a way that I could pull up my camera, like how I have it on my phone here, or I could pull it up on my computer where I can record and you guys can see me straight on like that. I'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure that there has to be some way I can do that, so I'll figure it out when I get there. But let's talk about it. As far as the notion of moving in silence until the task is done, is that something that one should apply to their day-to-day existence? In my opinion, if I can get my camera to act right. In my opinion, I would say yes. Because I feel like in some way, when you express what goals you have lined up, or if you express what type of task you want to take on next, right? And it's something that you're very excited about, and you want others to be excited about it too. Granted, they may not be a part of the experience in bringing this particular thing on board, but yet you still will want for them to have some level of support, some level of, you know, positive energy in reference to you wanting to embark on this next step. I feel that it's safe to say that you should not share those details with those individuals until after the task has been done, because you never know how one may be truly feeling behind that mask. What do you mean by that, Jessica? Let me explain. What I mean by that is that the very individuals that may be smiling in your face and, you know, seem like they're very excited about what you're looking to embark on next may just be the very individuals that are actually frowning or showing a sense of being disgruntled behind that mask, that facade, as I usually mention in some of my other videos. don't be that one where you open yourself up to being exposed to those type of individuals, because let's face it, you never know what one truly thinks, what their true intentions are towards you. And sadly enough, some may even have you fooled that you've known for quite some time. You know, think of the amount of times you may have known someone who was a friend or a high school pal that you grew up knowing for like ages. Only to realize years later in your adult years, you realize like, wow, this person really had it out for me. It's sad. It's a sad truth that does quite often come up. Now, you could choose to leave that person alone with, you know, just with love, part ways with them with love and just clear your hands of it. But kind of going back to one of my earlier videos, this is where you need to use those very experiences that you've had and actually tie them into your current existence, and how to know how to move further along as you go forward, how to maneuver through this thing called life going forward. I say all that to say, when it comes to moving in silence, for me, has worked out very well, because I've actually been in scenarios in my earlier years where I was so elated about something I was getting ready to work on, whether it was something that was project-wise, or it could have been something that maybe me and maybe someone else was getting ready to take on. I could think back to a time when, I don't even know if I want to talk about him. No, we're not going to talk about that. I just thought about it because I was going to tie that in, because that was the point where I was very excited. Well, what the heck, why not? We'll talk about it, but we're talking about another example too. So I remember when, at the time when I actually, you know, was going through work, you know, working in terms of the education system, and then on top of it, it got to a point where you know, when I ended up getting engaged, right? Of course, any lady who's getting engaged, especially for the first time, you're gonna be very excited, you're honored, and that someone would actually choose you. Out of all the other people in the world, they chose you to be their partner, their forever person, right? And I remember there were times that I shared those details with other people, and there were quite a few people that were very excited. You could tell. A lot of the times, especially with empaths, you can tell when people are genuinely happy for our happiness, right? But then there was those ones that showed that sense of happiness, but you knew that it was a facade. You knew something about their energy felt off at that point, something with their mannerisms, something with the way that they were moving thereafter, just let you know, okay, you're really not that happy about it. Then you start to ask, well, why? What could be the reasoning? It could be a plethora of reasonings for why they are not truly happy for you. Now, for me, even looking back at that particular scenario, I took that as a learning tool, a learning experience, I should say. So I took those tad bits, and of course, as you guys can imagine, I no longer deal with those people. But I just took that experience as a learning experience to just continue to move forward, but be more calculative when it came to my approach. Be very cautious about who I share what details with and when. Whether you do it early on or you do it when the task is done. And I actually would say, share the details when the task is done. I find it that when the task is done, also, the funny part about it is that when you finally share it with certain individuals, you can see their true feelings about it even during that time as well. What do you mean by that, Jessica? Let me explain. There's been instances I noticed also when I was dealing with a particular task at hand, and once I've actually accomplished it, and I shared what fruits I gained from it thereafter, I noticed how, you know, certain individuals will react, whether it may be a truly genuine positive reaction, or it could have possibly been one that was like, oh, like, yay, but you could tell it's not a true yay, right? I've had those encounters too. And that too revealed to me what type of individual they were when it came to dealing with me and my happiness. You know, it's so funny because I honestly feel that for individuals who truly don't like dealing with a certain individual, or if you don't truly like seeing others happy, you have to go within self and say, why is that? Why is it that I have a sense of, disgust or frustration when this individual is happy about something that they've accomplished in terms of their day-to-day. It's very telling. And a lot of times it has to deal with past issues that you may have been dealing with or that you still need to continue to deal with that you haven't addressed. That too. And a lot of times people don't realize when you do things like that, you're actually blocking potential blessings from rolling into your life as well, because you're so focused on what Jane Doe is doing. And you're so focused on their happiness and how it's progressing that you're forgetting to focus on your own lane. You're forgetting to focus on watering your own plants. Understand? Because you're so focused on how well Jane Doe's plants are growing. You're forgetting that you have some too that are just withering away because you're not paying attention to it. I say all that to say, even when someone shares their plans, their goals with you, acknowledge it with a cheerful heart. Be very genuine about it. But at the same time, in doing so, know within self that God has stuff in store for you too. That it's not a case that he's overlooking you just to make sure Jane Doe is taken care of. It's not a case that he feels that, you are one that's like worth looking over because you've done X, Y, Z in the past. And even with that, those were experiences that you've encountered. But that's a whole nother topic for another day. We're not gonna even tie that in because this would be too long of a video. The point I'm trying to drive home here is that, truly be genuinely happy for a person if they have to share those details with you. Even if they do it in a naive fashion by sharing with you too soon. But at the same time, at least don't lose sight in focusing on watering your plants as well. Now, with all that being said, as far as watering your own plants, when it comes back to what I mentioned earlier, where once you move in silence until the task is done, again, I do say I completely agree with that statement, because you don't want any outside negative energies to throw you off. You don't want people to start getting into your ear saying blah, 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 and throwing you off your focus. You don't want them to actually give you a reason to start having second thoughts about the decision that you just made the night before, or just a moment ago, like the hour before for that matter. You want to continue to remain on target with what your plans are and stick to it until the job is done. And then from there, just go ahead and share the news with them once everything has come to fruition and it's completed. One thing I can say even from my end, I constantly talk to you guys, especially my recent videos, about some of the things I am working on. But I'm very cautious with what I share for a reason. Now, the old me, I'm gonna tell you, I would have been spewing all the details by now. I would have told you guys everything. I'm doing A, B, and C, and I'm doing this. I would have pulled in my book. I would have been like, look, here's the information. I would have showed you guys everything. But again, with time, with wisdom, growth, learning from previous experience I've had before, I came to realize, especially at this stage in the game in my life, that that's just not a smart thing to do. And it's actually worked out very well for me. And it continues to do so. So I would just encourage you guys to do the same. What are you guys' thoughts about that? I'd like to hear your thoughts in terms of it. Don't hesitate to leave comments in the comment section below, as always. You guys can also, continue to message me on my other platforms as you have been. You can continue to send me emails as well. I love the emails, and especially the updates in terms of any photos you guys send. I do look at those as well. I do respond back. I know I've had quite a few people that were really surprised. I don't know why you guys are so surprised by that, but I'm not an AI. I'm actually a real human being, I'm here. Other than that, just rest assured, I won't leave you on red. I'm not that type of person, because I honestly believe in that notion. You treat people the way you want to be treated, even when it comes to something as simple as sending an email response back. Now, Consultations are open with this being a new week, so definitely take advantage of it. I actually am also in the space, you guys, I'm not sure if I shared this with you. I'm in the space, I'm also like in the space as far as being like a motivational coach, a keynote speaker, more in that arena as well. So I'm gonna start being more open about sharing that detail with you guys. So if it is something, like let's say you have a particular event or something you would like for me to speak at on your behalf for your establishment, things like that, I am very receptive to that as well. I am one that's more of my field house, more of my area as well. And I will have that information on my website. We're actually doing an update to the website, so rest assured I will have that posted here soon enough. So I at least give you that little bit of an update of what's been coming along here so far. So we've been making some tweaks to it, but it's gonna be good stuff. But other than that, as always, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end it here and just know I'm definitely gonna send you guys with love and light. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, you guys.